Hi, everyone. Welcome to the PokeBeach.com podcast. My name is John. I go by Water Pokemon Master on the website, and I am joined by the wonderful
Justin Basil from justinbasil.com.
How was, I guess we never ask each other, how was your week this week? What did you do with anything Pokemon related? Or, sorry, my voice is cutting out from, I'm still a little sick.
Well, that's unfortunate, but hopefully you'll get better soon. I'll say this. I liked the fact that we actually finally got some reveals from Scarlet and Violet 4.
This is
what I've been working on.
No, this is supposed to be personal question. No, how was your week?
My
on a
personal thing
level?
Is literally just work and the website, and the website is like that's what I got. Like, I don't know what you want. I have
didn't
no
do
life.
Anything else? You don't have
no.
Everybody has.
I gotta do work. I come home. I do the website. I go to bed, and then I go to work.
I guess that was me for most of my life too, running this website. It's only been recently where I've actually been more social. But
like, my social experience is Pokemon too.
Yeah,
like Friday
me too.
nights and Saturdays are also Pokemon. Yep. So no matter what, I'm stuck with Pokemon.
This week I was on set for a movie I can't talk about, and I was first ADing. And then this weekend, I'm going to go to the Pokemon art exhibit in LA where they have like these lifelike Pokemon statues. So I don't know if I'll post video of that or take pictures, but that'll be fun. And then what else happened this week? Oh, I turned 25 for the 10th time.
So you're 35.
Yeah. 35.
I love the convenient I'm not going to talk while I drink. It's like covering it up extra well.
Yeah. I had a birthday party with my friends and we watched some Pokemon, which they didn't like. Oh, and that was my phone going off because I have Pokemon sound effects for everything. But that was a text message, which was Mesprit. Did you hear that?
I didn't. I mean, I heard a little something. I couldn't make it out.
Sorry. To me, it's super loud.
I'm used to Staraptor. That's what I'm used to.
Oh yeah, the Staraptor cry. Yeah, I have a Staraptor cry whenever there's news. It'll set it off and wake everybody up. And I've actually that's gone off before in public by accident because I usually turn it off. I was at an ice cream shop and it went off, and the poor employee dropped the ice cream and had like a heart attack. It was funny. Sorry, I think
Staraptor is that scary, everyone.
Well, it's I can't even do it, especially with my voice being messed up this week. It's like and it goes off twice. Great. It goes off twice, so you get hit with the second wave when there's news. Great. I'm drinking tea for my voice. Anyway, okay, so we have a lot of news this week, so let's jump right in. I think I'm going to do it in reverse order this week, where we go from newest to oldest. Which, so let's start with. Oh, wait, I have to change the video thing. So let's start with, we have new reveals from Ancient Roar and Future Flash. Last night we had many cards revealed, including EXs for Armor Rouge, Altaria, Golisopod, and what was it?
Mousehold.
Oh yeah, Mousehold. That's right. So do you want to point out a couple of them? Oh, and we also had the illustration rares revealed for several of them. Do you want to point out a couple to talk about, or?
Let's talk about Toadscruel. Let's start with Toadscruel. I think Toadscruel is fairly interesting.
Yes.
So Toadscruel we've translated it here as Mycelium Colony. I believe that's Twan's translation, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. The translation is: cards in your opponent's discard pile can't be put into their hand through the effects of trainer cards or abilities they use. So there's no recovery, basically, is what it comes down to when this is in play. So they can't use something like a Clara to recover their Pokemon or their energy. They can't, in Expanded or in Unlimited, they couldn't use something like a Versus Seeker to recover a supporter card. They can't use Superior Energy Retrieval to recover their energy cards. This is a very big no card. Now, I don't know how much play it's going to see because it is stage 1, so it's not something you can just slip into a deck. But it could be pretty good for the Toadscruel deck that already exists if it ever becomes decent.
And the artwork, I kind of reminded me of War of the Worlds or something, but I know that's not what they're channeling here. Because sorry, you're talking all strategic, and then I just completely shift gears.
No, you're good.
Tentacruel, Toadscruel kind of remind me of the giant walkie things from War of the Worlds, or at least the the Tom Cruise version of it. Did you hear that sound effect?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that was a Facebook message with Manaphy. Okay, so is there another card you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's actually look at Armor Rouge. Armor GX.
Armor Rouge EX, not Armor Rogue.
Yes.
Armor Rouge.
Rouge, like the color red. So it has the ability Crimson Armor. When this Pokemon is at full HP, it takes 80 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So it takes a little bit less damage if it has full HP, which is pretty cool. That makes it basically have, what, 340 HP as a Stage 1? That's pretty nice. And then it has Scorching Bazooka, which does 40 plus damage. So it does 40 extra damage for each fire energy attached. That's the concern I have for damage output. It's going to be kind of low. You do have things like Magma Basin where you can attach it to a benched fire-type Pokemon and then use the Baby Armor Rouge to move it up to this one. But powering this up could be, or at least powering it up to something that's acceptable damage output-wise, might be a difficult task.
I have a question. I haven't played competitively in a long time. When there's cards that they do more damage based on how many energy are attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. There's cards where it's energy attached to you. Isn't it always better when it's I don't know, it's when it's attached to you, if you get knocked out, you lose all of them, but you have more control over your damage output, whereas if it's attached to your opponent's Pokemon, you don't have as much control over the damage. So like, what are they, kind of like equal cases? Is one better than the other usually competitively?
So you forgot the third one. The third one is attached to all of your Pokemon.
Oh well, obviously that's the better. Obviously that's the best.
Those are just objectively better. I think it kind of has to do with the multipliers on these, because the multipliers are all over the place, right? It could be 10 damage. I think it's the Flittle that's like 10 damage for each energy on your. Yeah, it's not very good. But at the same time, like it may be meta dependent, right? Maybe your opponent's running a lot of Pokemon. They all need a lot of energy or all pile on the energy. You think back to something like Blacephalon GX, where it's using Naganadal's charging up ability to pull energy from the discard pile. A lot of times it keeps quite a bit of energy in play to use later. And, something like a Starmie V now would take huge advantage of that. But if it's, typically at least, if it's just on your side, the multiplier tends to be a little higher. So it is what it is.
Is there another card you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's look at 10 or Mousehold.
Yes,
EX.
Of course.
That's a pretty interesting one too.
Yes.
So Mousehold has the Solidarity ability, which says if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from an opponent's Pokemon, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon for each of your Tandemaus, Mousehold, and Mousehold EX in play. And then it has Nom 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 Incisors, which has 120 damage and lets you draw 2 cards. I think the ability is very interesting, and I think it's going to be significantly more interesting come rotation, because unless there's a good way at least, to shut off this ability, that's brutal. That's a lot of damage. Now, granted, you're going to be having a bunch of Pokemon with very few HP in play, so like the Tandemaus, the good one in this set at least, has 30 HP. It has Free Retreat, but it has 30 HP. That's very, very low. But the flip side to that is if they're attacking into that Mousehold EX, it's going to hit them very, very, very hard.
Yeah, this is like this is a Pokemon whose theme is let's multiply as much as we can, have as many of these family members out as we can. You know, even when it evolves, it multiplies.
Its signature move in the video games is like population bomb, where it's like, there's a lot of us, let's blow things up with our exactly. tininess.
Can you tell me about Snorlax doll?
It's interesting. I don't know if it's any good. So you can only play it down when you're setting up to play. Let me just read it off real quick. It says if this card is in your hand when you're setting up play, you may put it face down in play as if it were 120 HP basic colorless Pokemon. You can't play it at any other time. Anytime during your turn, you may discard this card from play. This card can't retreat or be affected by any special conditions. If this card is knocked out, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. So you can only put it down during setup, which means if you don't start it in your opening hand, you don't get it. So you have to play 4 of them to increase your chances of getting it. And even if even if you have all 4 of them, if you whiff it during your opening hand, oh well.
Yeah.
You don't get to play it.
Just becomes useless.
Yeah, it's an interesting card, but it's also probably just not good enough.
They made it just to give you more flexibility for opening hands. Like if you don't get something that you want, I guess. Is that what the point of it is?
I guess. And this card's kind of interesting too, because you can start it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you're still gonna have to have a basic Pokemon in the deck, because this wouldn't count for the deck building rules, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't, at least. But like, it's just such a weird card. I don't know how much play. Let's see. I'm just wondering
why they
likes it.
I'm just wondering why they created it. I was like, oh, this is random, at least to me.
I feel like it was supposed to be a card for like Golisopod EX, because it like pushes itself to the bench. Like it's gonna be something you throw up. Maybe, but like it's just not a great card. I feel like there are better cards to put up. Stuff like Mimikyu or Klefki, for example. Yeah, Golisopod EX has that strategic retreat. Does 170 damage. You have to discard an energy, and then when you do, it switches that Pokemon to the bench, which means you could put up that Snorlax and have it sponge whatever attack. Your opponent wouldn't be able to take a prize card for it, which could be nice, but like you're having to evolve up into the Golisopod already. You may or may not have actually started Snorlax in the first place, which means you may or may not even have one in play, and maybe you only got one in play. And then even if you did, it's now hogging bench space. It's kind of it's a weird one. At least for aggressive decks, I don't know how great it is. Maybe Control will find a use for it though.
What is this artwork? Is it like in an underwater ruin or something?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I really like it. It's different. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like a comic book art. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's illustrated by Oku. All right, is that it for Ancient Roar and Future Flash?
One more card. One more card. Sure. And I know it's a reprint, but we need to hit it anyway because it's such an important card.
Countercatcher.
Countercatcher. So a while back, I did like a top 5 trainer cards I wanted to see reprinted. This was actually number 3 on my list. Countercatcher. I'm super happy to see this card back. It says you can only play this card if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent. Switch in one of your opponent's benched Pokemon to the active spot. This is a boss's orders as an item card if you're behind on prize cards. I cannot stress how amazing that is. This card was previously printed in Crimson Invasion, so 3-4ish years ago we last saw play. It's fantastic. Control will like this. Decks that can search it out will like it. It's just, I'm very, very happy to see this kind of effect in Standard. And if we ever lose boss's orders, I hope this one stays in its place, just because it's such a healthy card to see in the format.
Your cat is looking over your shoulder in the background.
Yes, he is very clearly upset that I am not paying all of my attention to him right now.
Mine's on the bed right now in my bedroom.
Yeah, he's telling me things.
All right, so let's move on to our next news story. This one's interesting. The Japanese police have arrested a suspect for selling counterfeit Pokemon cards online. So yesterday, police in Anaka City, Japan arrested a 21-year-old suspect for selling fake Pokemon cards on an auction website last year. The suspect had sold 4 counterfeit cards, which totaled to about $1,250. And then one of the victims thought that the cards might be fake, alerted the police, and then the police asked Nintendo themselves, hey, can you verify if these cards are fake or not? And Nintendo confirmed that they were counterfeit, which meant that their trademarks were being violated. So the police went to the suspect, and the suspect admitted, yes, I was selling counterfeit cards. So the police then went to their house, seized about 1,000 trading cards, including 400 Pokemon cards that were printed in both English and Japanese. And they plan to investigate where the cards come from. And all of this comes in the wake of the Pokemon Company's announcement that they were going to work with auction websites to prosecute people who sell fake cards. This suspect was first... The investigation for this suspect first started last year, so it's not really clear if the Pokemon Company's announcement directly led to this or if it's just coincidence. But either way, counterfeit cards are on the rise, and at least the police in Japan are doing something about it, so you have to commend them for that. And if you look at the images in the news story, it was kind of hard to tell, but you can see that some of these cards don't have texture. when I was first looking at the video footage of the cards that that Reuters Japan had released, I was like, these look real to me. But then when they showed the close-ups, you can tell that the cards don't have textures. So what do we think about? Oh, go ahead.
That Lily card also kind of has that stereotypical fake hollow foil look.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do we think of this?
I think it's good. I wish they'd chase after the counterfeiters a little bit more diligently. I know people are torn. I know some people, even in the comment section of this article, were upset that, so-called proxy cards were going to be prosecuted. Look, they're fakes. They're counterfeits. An actual proxy card has no business being sold. Yeah. It's a stand-in that you print yourself and throw in a binder or throw in a sleeve. At this point, when they are being sold for money or when they're being exchanged for something of value, that's when it becomes a counterfeit, and that's when it's not okay anymore.
Yeah, and it hurts the brand. It hurts the brand integrity too. I mean, and you're mixing these fake cards in with real ones, and these little kids get confused. Their parents get confused. I've never been a fan of fake cards unless they're like obviously fake, where you're just like going to League and slipping them in. I used to print them out on just on my printer paper and slide them over a real card into a sleeve to use as a proxy. But I wouldn't go out of my way
that's
to...
an actual proxy.
Yeah.
Not exactly. A counterfeit that people are calling a proxy.
Exactly.
Right. There's no attempt to fool anyone with an actual proxy.
Well,
and
some of the listings
being exchanged for it.
Some of the listings do say that the cards are fake, but I don't think that makes it any better, because down the line people will trade them, and
that's what I'm saying
cards.
Is at that point there's goods or something of value, whether it's money or whatever else, that's now being exchanged for it, and that's where it crosses the line for me.
And you can see. Oh, go
ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and you can see in the news story that this person was printing obviously very valuable cards, like if you look here, like the Rainbow Charizard VMAX and some old classic cards like Umbreon from, I think, Skyridge. And, they were clearly targeting the most valuable cards, which means their intentions were money.
Yeah.
So, and I know that the Pokemon Company International also goes after counterfeit operations. It's just not as publicized, but I know they do that. And I think it was maybe a year or two ago they seized cargo containers from China that had a bunch of fake cards on them. So they do go after them as well. It's just not as publicized, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm glad. It's very frustrating for me as a Pokemon professor to have to explain to their child or even to the parents, like, by the way, like, this entire binder is full of just counterfeit cards.
Yeah.
And, it's heartbreaking for the kids.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next news story. The Pokemon Company International has been expanding the number of Pokemon TCG vending machines in the U.S. So these vending machines exclusively supply Pokemon TCG products. There's 120 active machines right now, but in June there were only 45. The number has sometimes in the past fluctuated and been as high as 65, but we can clearly see that since this summer they've been expanding the number of them. Currently originally they only started out in Washington State, which is where TPCI is headquartered, but they've now expanded to Oregon, Colorado, Arizona, and Texas. And the list of all of the locations is in the news story. I like that they're expanding, and I do hope that these come to other states. I mean, it's so convenient to be able to do that, to go to a machine and get the cards. If they decide to make them have anti-scalper rules on them, which they don't right now, because people can go up to the machines currently and clear them out. But if they maybe check your credit card or something, that would be a nice way of controlling the amount of items they give out to each customer, I think. So basically I'm saying I think this could be a good idea if they do it correctly if they expand more.
I mean, we all saw how well they controlled the scalpers with the Van Gogh issue, right? So, I mean, they'll clearly do it for their vending machines.
I don't know why I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I don't know why it seems like they keep making the same mistakes over and over at this company. I know they've been expanding a lot recently. They have a ton of new employees. I don't know. I mean, when I was even talking to some people at Worlds who have I'm just saying people, I'm not going to say their names or their positions, but when I was talking to some people at Worlds, they were saying that they have made some obvious mistakes in the past like year or two that have already been solved in the past, even related to running events. And I think it's a symptom of the company just growing very large, very fast, and having a bunch of new people there who maybe don't know as much of the past and how things have how things have played out before. So I don't know. It's like, I like to think they're not doing it on purpose, trying to make their brand seem incredibly valuable, where people, where they make the headlines like, oh, this Pokemon collaboration had so many people swamping it. I hope it's not for that kind of press. I don't know.
I don't even know if it's necessarily for the press. I think they just see, hey, look, this stuff is selling, cool. They care about what's selling, and if it's selling, that's cool. And if it's selling quickly, they'll make more and they'll stock it again.
So you think it's as simple as that?
I do. I think they just don't care.
You might be right. It's hard to tell. I don't know. It's hard to understand this company's motivations sometimes. But for me, it's like it damages the brand integrity. Like if I, as if I'm not a general fan, but if I, as like a little kid, can never get like 151 at MSRP, or can't go to these machines and get cards, or get the Van Gogh promos that they so heavily advertise on their social media accounts, like for me, it just doesn't really make me want to be a fan because I can't get anything.
Yeah, and then you'll have the people who are like, well, and some things just have to be exclusive because like that makes them valuable. It's like I look, like there's exclusivity and then there's promotional. These aren't meant to be exclusive, they're meant to be promotional.
Yeah. Those kind of people make me kind of angry when I read their comments because they're coming at it from an investor standpoint. And it's fair. Like you can be any kind of fan you want to be in this franchise. There's people out there that want to invest that are still fans. But I mean, for me, it's just like share the Pokemon love. I don't know. I think everybody should be able to get these cards if they're here right now. Maybe not people 2 years from now who weren't fans then, but like if they're doing a promotion now, it should be available to everybody, I think.
Yeah, during the promotion. And the promotion, how long is that art exhibit happening at the Van Gogh Museum? That's how long that promo should be available at Pokemon Center. It's
exactly. And if you should be rewarded for being a fan at that time, because there's always going to be a turnover. There's always going to be new fans later who weren't there and didn't get to, get these cards. So it'll still make your cards, I guess, valuable if that's what you care about. But for people who are here now, like they should be able to partake in it, in my opinion.
Yeah, they should be able. Like they don't necessarily have to, but they should be able.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the point, right? Like we're producing this product, okay. So I have a shot at getting it. Cool. No, you don't, because it was all bought up by bots in 10 seconds.
Yeah. I'm so tired of talking about the Van Gogh stuff too.
I know. We're about to hit that article here in a little bit too. It's going to get us even more better.
I might just skip it. Okay, our next story of the week was that more English cards from Paradox Rift were revealed. Not too many surprises here. It's just I'll just briefly say that we had a discussion in our first episode about how Gholdengo EX's attack would be translated, and they chose to translate it as Make It Rain to match its signature attack in the video games, instead of translating it to Gold Rush, which is how it was previously translated in the card game. And I think that's a good decision.
I disagree. I actually think it should be Gold Rush. It already exists as a localized string in another TPCI product. There was no reason to retranslate it.
So when they get the games, they're like, okay, here's Gholdengo, which is the 1000th Pokemon. It has a signature attack. So they just decided to translate it differently to make it rain, or not translate it, but reinterpret it to make it rain, which who knows what their reasons are for doing that. But they obviously thought that would be more marketable to kids for some over like Gold Rush, which has like a sort of monetary implication. So I don't know.
So does Make It Rain.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I can't speak to their creative decisions, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, they chose to reinterpret it, and the card then was released with the previous attack in the card game, but they chose to make it match the video games for better or for worse. And I think the decision to make it match the video games is more the appropriate decision, because kids use Goldango in the games, and it has a signature attack called Make It Rain. And then when you get the card and see that attack printed there, you're like, oh, that's really cool. You know, it's transmedia. The thing that I used in the video games is now in card form. So I agree with the decision. I don't know. I don't really want to speak to how they chose to translate it. I don't know if I'm making sense.
I think I know what you're getting at. Like, ultimately, it was a decision. The video game the video game localization team put the TCG localization team in a bind. And the TCG localization team had to make a decision. As a judge, I hate it. Now, the good thing is that the cards where that matters, one, aren't currently in the standard format, which is okay. They are in expanded, unfortunately. So that's kind of an issue. But they're not they're not played all that much, which is probably why they went ahead and make it rain.
Yeah.
But the point is, if those cards are ever relevant, or if a card like them in the future exists and is relevant, it's going to cause problems.
But I feel like it'll be such a niche. I didn't say it right for any of the ways I thought. It feels like such a niche situation that, I mean, is that ever going? I don't know. I think it's just too,
like, they have enough issues with rulings in the TCG that they could just be consistent.
Well, yeah. So I guess if anything, what should maybe be learned from this is that the video game team should consult with the TCG localization team. We're making an assumption that they didn't, but you know, it would be nice if all the different parts of the company were talking to each other, because it feels like sometimes with the Pokemon company, international especially, that the left hand doesn't always know what the right hand is doing. So yeah, they should.
I mean, sometimes it feels like the hands are just things on their own. They're not even attached to a body.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And the thing is, this isn't even the first time something like this has happened. If you follow, I think it's Ambassador TCG on Twitter.
Yep.
They did a whole spiel about situations like this has happened before.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, I get Wizards of the Coast fumbled translations over and over and over and over again, but this isn't Wizards of the Coast.
Right. This is the actual home company. So, okay, let's move on to our next story, which is, do we have to cover Defiance Fest?
Nah, it's bulk.
Okay. Then, okay, here's a quick story. There's going to be a Pokemon trade and play event at GameStop on October 7th. Usually these events are encouraging kids to come in, buy new product like 151's Ultra Premium Collection, Alakazam EX Box, Zapdos EX Box, and 151 Mini Tins, because those are going to release the day before. And you come in, you trade your cards and play others, and then you also get a sample pack, which will probably be for Scarlet and Violet. We don't know yet, but each sample pack / fun pack comes with a common, uncommon, or rare reverse holo card, as well as 2 common cards. So it's just for the children, I guess. For the kids.
I mean, that's great, right? That's something you want to see. And I know GameStop's done these for quite a while. This is not their first event like this. It's nice to see, especially in areas where maybe the game stores, like the Pokemon leagues, aren't as common.
Yeah.
It's nice to see stuff like this pop up for the kids and actually let them interact with each other and have some fun with the Pokemon trading card game.
And I think for Scarlet and Violet, they also had these at Toys R Us and Macy's when the Scarlet and Violet set first came out. I don't know. I didn't go to any of these, so I don't know how the turnout generally is. But I don't think scalpers are going to ruin this one, because you just get a fun pack. So yeah. So, and then you can go to the news story to find participating stores in your area. And for all the news stories we've talked about today, you can go to them to read more details, obviously. Oh no, another stupid Van Gogh story.
Hit it up. I got an anecdote for it.
Okay. So the Pokemon Center is canceling and modifying orders for the Van Gogh products. So if you placed an order, there is a decent chance that your order could be modified or canceled, where they'll remove some items from your order because they don't have them, or they just outright might cancel your entire order. So the news story goes into more details on the different situations that you might encounter, but basically it's a mess.
Yeah. One of my friends, Ryan, he put in an order. He got the order succeeded. He got the confirmation on the website. You can see the order in his thing and everything, but nothing with regard to shipping. So he contacted Pokemon Center support, and they're like, "Oh, that order, it's canceled." It's like,
Yeah.
well, why does your website not reflect that it's been canceled? So they're not even doing that much.
Yeah.
With
You
their
have to
stuff.
of
it's extremely frustrating.
You have to talk to them sometimes to see that your order has even been canceled. They didn't really make a public announcement about it, and they aren't telling people outright that their orders have been canceled. You kind of have to do your own investigative work to see that it has been canceled. But oh god, this whole thing has just been such a mess. Pokemon Center really needs to do better with their website itself. I mean, I go to it, I get IP banned. I can't put things in my cart. Last week we were literally during the podcast showing you guys how we were trying to order the items and they were all out of stock. And it's just, I mean, what more can you say at this point?
You get IP banned because you're not a bot, John. That's why.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know why they don't have like some kind of CAPTCHA thing in place. I mean, it feels like so many other companies are able to sort of deal with this issue, and the Pokemon company still hasn't. I mean, they're one of the richest companies in the world. Not
defending them, but they do have a CAPTCHA there. It just doesn't pop up very often.
Well, you have to click the thing, but I don't know. I don't know what security measures they could take, but I just know that there are other franchises that have much easier online stores that have processes for dealing with these sorts of things, and it just doesn't feel like the Pokemon Center. I'm not a security person or web store operator. I can only tell them that as a customer, the experience of going through the Pokemon Center's website to order things is a nightmare. So I don't know how they can solve it, but they're a very rich company, and I assume that they could do better.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that before we get too heated.
Oh, I'm not gonna get heated. I mean, it's like
I will.
I mean, it's like
this
at this point,
situation's been frustrating.
At this point, like I just don't care anymore. I'm more like, what's the word? I'm just what's the word when you just don't feel anything anymore?
Apathetic.
Yeah, apathetic. I'm more apathetic to it these days. For me, I've just come to expect it, and I do feel disappointment when this happens, but this has happened so many times across this franchise that I just really don't have expectations anymore, and I just keep my expectations low, and then that's how it is. So it's unfortunate. Like I said, it's brand integrity. The brand integrity, I think, is being damaged with the way that they're operating. So in the short term, this might be a good thing for them with the numbers that everything's sold out, it's getting pressed, blah, blah, blah. But again, fans are getting clearly upset over this and are continuing to be upset over this. So it's going to bite them in the long term. It's like this whole capitalist thing of short-term greed versus long-term quality or whatever.
Let's look at some pixels.
Yes, let's look at some pixels. So our next news story is that the special deck set EX Venusaur and Charizard and Blastoise, which is releasing on November 10th in Japan, will come with illustration rares of Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, which were just shown at the top of the box artwork right here, and which I sort of enhanced in Photoshop poorly right here. So we can see that the Charmander illustration rare is the one that was included in the Obsidian Flames Elite Trainer box as a promo card, but we haven't seen this Bulbasaur and Squirtle yet, so we don't know how they're going to be released for the English trading card game.
I need to have Bulbasaur.
Yeah, it looks like it's sunbathing on a porch or something. I can't tell. It's very hard to see. Squirtle looks like it's in a toy pool. I can't really tell. There's not enough pixels. So
you needed to enhance it more.
Yeah, it's like the crime shows. Enhance. It doesn't work that way. All right, and then our next story is that the The My First Battle product was released this week, and it turns out it is full of cards that have unique artwork. This is a kind of a first for a beginner's product, but you can see in the news story that all of the Pokemon feature brand new artwork, and they all have a special card back with the My First Battle logo on it. So these are not legal for play because they don't have the standard Pokeball back, not to mention the fact that none of the cards have weaknesses, resistances, or retreat costs, which would have already automatically disqualified them as being legal. And then, of course, no regulation mark. And then each of the decks has some blue bordered cards in them to tell new players which cards to start their games with, because it's trying to instruct them how to play. And I think that's all there really is.
All I'm going to say is that I don't really like the product. Obviously, I'm not the market for this. I just feel like it waters the rules down so much and even changes them so much that I don't know how good of a tool it really is at teaching the game. But that said, there is a Magnemite and a Magneton in this deck, or at least in one of the decks. I've got to pick it. I got to pick up at least one.
You know,
collect Magneton.
One of the interesting phenomenons I've noticed in the last decade or so is that the attention spans of people have gone way down, especially including children. And I think it's because social media and smartphones have made everything so instantly accessible. It's harder for them to, what am I saying?
To stay engaged.
To stay engaged.
Can't stay engaged, yeah.
And it's especially obvious to me in recent years because people don't read the news stories in close detail anymore, and they miss a lot of details, and then they ask in the comments questions that are answered in literally the first line of the story. So I don't know if this product is designed to be more simple just because kids have maybe lost their attention spans now. I don't know. But I have some friends who are teachers who have been teachers for several decades, older friends, and they've told me that kids just don't have attention spans anymore.
This is very clear. No, this is very clearly aimed at a very young audience. So you're talking like maybe 4, 5, 6-year-olds. Like all the cards are very simple. There's no real small text. It's all, this does 30 damage for 1 energy, or 20 damage for 1 energy, 50 damage for 2 energies. Like the Gyarados has little text, and that's I think the only one in that entire page.
Yeah, it's just flip a coin if heads this, or maybe if heads this does more damage, if tails it does nothing. I don't remember what it says, but
yeah, it's all very simple.
Yeah. Oh, the Magneton's magnetic circle. This attack does 20 more damage for each of your benched lightning Pokemon. Oh, that's pretty specific. That's like the most
complicated stuff at these new players. Yeah, that's one of the most complicated ones I've seen.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so if you're a collector, that product will have some unique cards for you that probably aren't going to release elsewhere because they don't have weakness retreats or resistances. But yeah. And if you're a new fan, or if you're a parent of a new fan who bought this product, let us know in the comments what you think of it. I'm very curious, actually. So, yeah. And then our last news story of the week is that you know what? I already know. God, it sounds like we're going to complain about this too.
What? Us complain about something? No way.
Our last... I don't feel like I generally complain, actually, but God, but the Shimmering Skyline. So Ultra Pro announced a new line of products called Shimmering Skyline, and they feature stock art of Pikachu, Pachirisu, Emolga, Morpeko, and how do you say it? Palmot?
Palmot, yeah.
Yeah, Palmot. Okay, I have been saying that right. So it's just deck boxes, card sleeves, playmats, portfolios, the typical lineup, and as usual, it features stock art. Obviously,
stock
this is
art on a generic background.
Yeah,
it's.
But this is for I think this is a licensing thing. I don't know. There's got to be a reason that they're always doing this, or maybe it's because the artwork is pre-approved by Pokemon and it makes it easier to just put these together and release them every quarter.
It's 100% licensing. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is not on Ultra Pro. I know this stuff all sucks, But I guarantee you that if Ultra Pro could just crank out like custom artworks for all their stuff, they would 100% be doing that. Their stuff would sell so much better. They would have a better reputation. The stuff would be sought after. But because it's just this generic crap that only like the know nothings, and I hate to use that phrase, but the people who just don't know any better are gonna pick any of this stuff up.
Well, I think it's for little kids. They're just getting quick accessories at Walmart or Target for the cards that they're buying. So I don't know, if you want something more, if you want something with better artwork, you go to PokemonCenter.com. I mean, if you can even get
you
them.
Don't. If
you can get
you're not
them,
gonna get it.
Well, then,
even if it gets into your cart.
Right. So maybe this is a way of deter. Oh, maybe they're actually really been smart about this. Maybe this is a way to deter scalpers from getting these products so that the little kids have something.
Just make something the scalpers don't want. Yeah, that's the perfect strategy.
That could be the strategy. Who knows?
Lord.
But anyway, they've been doing this for years, so this is really nothing surprising. I think I've gotten a Pokeball playmat before from them, and I did get, what was it? I don't remember. Maybe it was Snorlax sleeves I picked up one time because I just keep them in the car, like if I'm going to McDonald's and getting a promo card. But yeah, they're just like simple little accessories you can get if you need them, if you're in a bind. But yeah. Okay, so that was our last news story of the week. Was there anything else we wanted to touch on in general, or I guess we probably covered everything, right?
The only thing I want to kind of talk about is the fact that the Peoria Regional Championships are happening this week. So if you're there, best of luck as always. Hopefully you guys all do well. If you don't do well, maybe next time, but definitely do well this time, please. It'd be very interesting to see what comes out of that. This is going to be the first major event with Scarlet and Violet 151 legal. So we might see some stuff like Mew make its way into decks or Grabber. I'm very interested to see how 151 shifts the meta. I don't know if it's going to be a huge shift, but I do think it's going to be a shift. I'm expecting Lugia, especially colorless Lugia, to be a little bit more popular than it's been. Charizard probably will still be popular after its success at Curitiba. We'll see. I'm excited to see what the shakeup is.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and listening. I still need to put this on Apple Podcasts, but it won't let me log in, so I'm going to figure it out at some point this weekend. I've been saying that for 2 weeks, but I really will this weekend. It's on my to-do list. But yeah, thank you for joining Justin Basil, justinbasil.com, and
Thank you for letting me be here. Water Pokemon Master of Pokebeach.com.
And be sure to go to the website Pokebeach.com if you want any more details on these news stories. And obviously for news as it breaks, you can go there and then we will review it at the end of the week. But thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week if there's news.